Metroid is one of Nintendo's oldest and most iconic franchises. The series protagonist, Samus Aran, is one of gaming's most famous female characters. She's a tough-as-nails bounty hunter that accepts insane solo missions, charging into battle armed only with a pea shooter and whatever weapons she can scavenge within the planet's caverns. Metroid has spawned numerous sequels, appearing on almost every Nintendo console, but it all started on the NES. In 1986, Nintendo was riding high on the success of games like Super Mario Bros. And The Legend of Zelda. They had recently released an add-on for the Japanese version of the NES called the Famicom Disk System. The disk system allowed for games to be loaded from floppy disks that had 4 times the amount of memory as early cartridges. More memory meant they could make bigger games, and Nintendo's Research and Development 1 division wanted to make a massive non-linear adventure game. The R&D 1 division was led by Gunpei Yokoi, one of Nintendo's greatest innovators. He had invented the D-pad controller and the Game Boy, among other things. He led production on Metroid. In Metroid, the player starts with limited equipment and must search the vast world of the game for upgrades that not only increase Samus's strength, but allow for deeper exploration of the world. You'll often encounter doors you can't open, or a ledge just a bit too high to reach. Later in the game, you'll have the upgrades you need to access these areas. Many games that followed have used this format, and after Castlevania 2 also had similar gameplay, the genre was named Metroidvania. For Metroid, Nintendo's R&D 1 division teamed up with Intelligent Systems, the company they would later work with on the Fire Emblem series. The team was inspired by the movie Alien. They liked the idea of a sci-fi theme and created the title by combining the words Metro and Android. Within the story of the game, a Metroid is a fierce jellyfish-like creature that had wiped out all intelligent life on its home world, a planet called SR-388. A group of space pirates led by the monstrous Mother Brain have possession of a Metroid and plan to use it as a deadly bioweapon. The Galactic Federation sends mysterious bounty hunter Samus Aran to the fortress planet of Zebos on a mission to infiltrate and eliminate the Metroid. The massive world of planet Zebos was mind-blowing at the time. The terrain is varied, but always has an atmosphere of cold isolation. It feels like there's a secret hidden around every corner. Taking inspiration from the movie Alien, the character of Samus Aran is a lot like Sigourney Weaver's Ripley. However, when development for the game began, the team had originally designed the main character as a more generic male action hero. Allegedly, a member of the team had suggested, "Wouldn't it be cool if it turned out the person in the suit was a woman?" So in the original game, the reveal of Samus's gender was saved until the game's final moments. Back in the 1980s, it was easy to assume that Metroid's protagonist was a man. In fact, the secret was so well concealed that the English language instruction manual refers to Samus as a he multiple times, although it does say his true form is shrouded in mystery. So while it is great that Nintendo went against the grain and gave us an amazing game starring a woman, it's hard for it to feel like a win for video game diversity when most players didn't know Samus's gender. The game also loses most of its feminist credibility when you find out that finishing the game in the shortest amount of time rewards the player with an image of Samus in a bikini, an ending that only makes sense if you think she's worried about getting unsightly tan lines from the alien environment. Despite all of that, when Metroid debuted in North America in August of 1987, it was one of the only games where you can play as a woman. Before Metroid, I think the only other official release for the NES that featured playable female characters was Volleyball. The original version of the game for the Famicom Disk System allowed for the game to be saved to the disc. When Nintendo converted the game to cartridge, they included a password feature instead. The passwords were long and awkward, but it also became one of Metroid's most memorable features. Entering the password Justin Bailey, followed by a full row of dashes, will not only let the player start with a full arsenal of missiles, but will allow you to play as Zero Suit Samus. This Samus is functionally the same as the version in the suit, but cosmetically we can play as a character that's more obviously a woman. Zero Suit Samus can also be unlocked by finishing the game in under 3 hours. In modern times, Metroid is still highly regarded by critics. When IGN created their list of the top 100 NES games of all time, they put Metroid at number 6. The game can be found on many modern platforms, including the NES Classic Mini and the Switch's online service. In 2004, Nintendo even released a reboot of the original called Metroid Zero Mission. Zero Mission is a similar but also very different game, featuring a good bit of all new content. If you liked the original, I can definitely recommend this version as well. The original game does feature many of the frustrations the NES is notorious for. You start out the game with only a handful of life points and almost zero equipment. There are traps where you can get stuck in an inescapable lava pit, and the twisting caverns of planet Zebos will have you helplessly lost without a map. But what if I told you how to find every hidden weapon and upgrade so you'll be ready for any situation? What if I told you how to find a secret world that's not mapped out in any official guidebook? And what if I told you how to defeat all of the game's challenging bosses, even the hideous Mother Brain? On today's episode of You Can Beat Video Games, we'll learn all of that and more. If you're new to the channel, we're doing deep dives on retro video games and giving you the professional strategies that can be used by the casual gamer. Please make sure to subscribe and click on the bell for notifications so you don't miss any new episodes. Let's get started. Alright, Metroid. The beginning of Metroid is just a brilliant bit of video game design. When this game came out in 1986, the popular games of the time like Super Mario Bros. All had you moving from left to right. Well, to get the Maru Marai or the morphing ball, you have to actually go left at the beginning of the game. If you go to the right, you'll eventually come to a wall that you can't get past, and then you'll have to backtrack here, and that's when you'll find the ball. So if you played this right when it came out, you'd almost definitely miss the ball and just start heading right to begin with, and that would be a bit of a mistake. But it teaches you an important lesson. It shows you that Metroid is something different. This is a game where you're going to have to explore in all directions. You're not just going to head to the right and get to the flagpole. These enemies that come down from the ceiling are called screes. Now, if you let a scree land on the ground and you wait a couple seconds, it will explode and shoot projectiles at you. So you definitely want to take out those screes as soon as possible. As we make our way into this room, we'll encounter our first vertical shaft climb. We just want to start making our way up. You can take out enemies that you see. These ones are called zoomers. These metallic ones are called rippers, and we can't destroy those right now. Just make your way up. Metroid in 1986 was very unique to have this vertical section. Most of the games, like I said before, just had you moving left to right on a horizontal axis, but Metroid opens up right away with these big vertical stretches. Take out that zoomer. We're getting very close to the door here, so just make your way up and then go through to the right. We'll go through this tunnel, shoot the door on the other side, and we'll enter this gold area. In here, we want to go over to the right and just drop all the way down, where we'll find another door. In here, there's a few more of those scree enemies and the zoomers. Take them out. I just found some health. When you start the game out, you only have 30 health, which is hardly any at all. So you do want to kill a lot of enemies that you encounter early. hoping that they'll drop these little 5 health refills. When you see enemies like this that are coming out of pipes, they'll just spawn infinitely here, so if you'd like to charge up your health all the way to 99, you could sit there and farm them for a minute. Also, whenever we have missiles, which we're about to get right now, you can farm missiles from those guys as well. This is our first missile pack. There are 21 total missile packs in the game, and we are going to collect them all on this run. The missiles are the game's most powerful weapon, but right now they are much more important as a way to open red doors. Most of the good items at the beginning of the game are hidden behind a red door that takes 5 missiles to destroy. So we're going to climb back up that golden shaft that we fell down earlier. So just make your way up, take out any zoomers that are convenient to you. But it's not that big of a deal to try to get a full health right now. We're going to get an energy tank in not too long, and that's going to give us a lot of health very quickly. These enemies are called waivers. They are much easier to deal with whenever we get the ice beam, so for the most part right now I'm going to just try to avoid them. Make your way across this room to the right. Don't fall in that lava at the bottom. It is certainly not instant death, but you'll want to jump out of it right away. To get by this waiver, just kind of crouch down in a ball over towards the door, and he'll fly up and you can roll underneath him. Head to the right through this room. You can actually shoot those blocks if you want to get them out of your way, or you can just go under like I did. You see that the lava doesn't hurt you that much, but you certainly don't want to stay in it very long. Go underneath this waiver and make your way through the door on the right. Just want to keep heading from left to right here. And stay out of the lava, of course. Here's that energy tank I was talking about. Suddenly we went from 17 energy to 199. Yeah, we're like a tank now. We certainly don't want to waste it. So keep making your way to the right after you get the energy tank. We're going to try to get some other items that we need right away. Just keep heading over to the right, and there's the door. When we get into this room, it looks very similar to the other gold area that we were in, but it's on the other side. Make your way up. We're looking for a door on the left side. There it is. Whenever you hear the music change to this is the sound of a treasure room, so you know something good is going to be found in here. I'm trying to avoid this zoomer. He is slow and in the way. Alright, I should be able to get through now. Switch to missiles and put 5 on the door. And we'll find the bombs. The bombs are a weapon that we can use while we're in the morphing ball mode. So switch into ball form by pressing down and then press the B button, and it will lay a time bomb, which will go off a second or two later. Using the bombs, there's a unique property that allows them to boost you up into the air a little bit. In this way, you can sort of jump while you're in ball form. So you just put a bomb down and you sit right on top of it, and it'll boost you up into the air. It doesn't deal you damage, and it's also possible to do a chain reaction of bombs to really get you high up into the air. We won't need to do that though to beat the game, and it's kind of advanced gameplay. Now we're backtracking a bit here, so I'm just speeding this up so we can get through it quickly. This is that room where the energy tank was. Now once we go through this door though, in this room there's a secret. We want to bomb the ground, and that's another thing that bombs are good for. You can't shoot downwards as Samus, at least not with this weapon. So that's the only way that we can destroy any flooring below us and open secret passages. You know that this music means we're going to get something good down here. It's a good thing that we found some missiles, because we need 5 missiles to open this door. If you don't have 5, you're going to have to kill some enemies and hopefully get some missile drops. This item that we found is the Ice Beam. The Ice Beam is an extremely powerful weapon. Whenever you shoot enemies, they'll be frozen solid, and you can stand on them like platforms. Pretty awesome. You'll notice that we can now freeze these Ripper enemies that we weren't able to deal with before, and now we can use them as platforms. Pretty nice. Now, once you get up here, there's sort of a platform on the lava that you can stand on. It's invisible. And you need to keep jumping until the block reappears. And I'm just going to speed this up again. We're going to head back to the left the way that we came. And we want to go all the way back to the left through that narrow tunnel so that we can get to the blue vertical shaft that we were in at the very beginning of the game. So you remember this part, right? Come through here to the left. We didn't finish our climb in this room. There's a lot more above us, actually. So we're going to keep jumping up here. So make your way up higher and go to the first room that you see on the left. Once again, this is another treasure room. That flying enemy is called a Rio, and it usually will try to fly all the way down at you, so it's not that hard to jump over it. We'll need 5 missiles again to open this door, so if you don't have them, you'll need to farm some enemies and try to find some. And this is the long beam. The long beam actually enhances the range of whatever weapon we have. So we have the ice beam, and now we can shoot it much farther. It's very easy to defeat these zoomers by using the bombs. They are just slightly below our gun range, which is very annoying. We shoot way farther now. And yeah, that's a nice way to defeat some enemies. You can hit them with the ice beam and freeze them, and then just go into ball form on top of them and blow them up with bombs. Whenever you shoot them again with the ice beam, it deals more damage, but it unfreezes them, so that part's a little bit unappealing. Make your way back through the tunnel. We're going to climb up this vertical shaft this time. We've been heading over through the door to the right, but that's not what we need to do this time, and I am trying to kill some enemies because we're certainly going to need more missiles to be able to get the next upgrade. So hopefully, okay, we only need 1 more. You get 2 each time you find one of those missile refills. So hopefully it won't take us too much longer to get another one. Make your way up. You can freeze enemies if you don't want to deal with them. So I'm just going to freeze that Ripper when he's out of the way. We found the other missile that we were looking for, so that's good news. Keep heading up. We're looking for a door on the right side. So keep going. A lot of these vertical shafts are very tall. There it is. Head over through to the right. Now that we have the bombs, we're going to be able to easily get through this room. It would have been a problem before. Head over to the right. There's some respawning Zeb enemies. They're those birds. And this is where we need to use the bombs. So you're going to go into bomb form, and we can blow up this destroyable brick. We want to use the second tube from the top here. And we're going to blow up these rocks at the very end and shoot them out of the way. Keep making your way over to the right. Go through this door. Now, this room we're going to have to do an interesting trick in. Normally you'd have to come back here later in the game, shoot through the ceiling and use the high jump boots, but instead what I want to do is get stuck in the door and then press down and then up very quickly. Don't lock into ball form, you just want to down, up, down, up, down, up. And you'll slowly move yourself to the top of the screen. Now you don't want to wrap around to the bottom, so whenever you get to the top, you just want to start mashing the jump button, which will start advancing the screen upwards. You need to keep doing this until we get up to the door. Make your way to the top of the screen using the little down, up trick. Don't get stuck in ball form, so make sure that as soon as you press down, you tap up again right away. And once you get up here, you want to shoot the door out and hold left to push through it. You don't want to fall back to the right. Then you'll have to redo everything that you just did. This is going to get us the Varia suit, which makes everything deal us just way less damage. It's one of the best upgrades in the game. It's certainly not a mandatory one, but man does it make the game a lot easier. Having it early like this is really going to help us out. So head through here, you need those 5 missiles to open the door, and there it is, the Varia suit. So we're this like pale pink color now. Pretty strange. But that's the color we're going to be for the rest of the game, so I'm gonna get used to it, I guess. We are way more powerful now. We only have 50 health, but it's going to carry us much farther now than it would have before. So make your way out the door to the right. You're going to want to drop down, and we can use bombs right here in the middle of the room to get down through to the bottom. And that's where you'd shoot up through. If you have the high jump boots and you want to do this later in the game, you need to get them in the fire zone, Norfair. So you need to do a big backtrack to get the Varia suit in the way that the programmers intended. But that's how you do it. You would just shoot up through the ceiling, and then you'd use the high jump boots to be able to access that high door. And we'll get our second missile upgrade here. It's nice to be able to hold more than just the number of missiles that can barely destroy a door. And we'll want to freeze an enemy here so we can get a little bit of lift, and then jump up through so that the blocks that reappear are usable as platforms. So you just keep jumping until they appear below you. And you can see how I did a little bomb jump there. And on the other side of this wall, we'll find our second energy tank, which will raise our health to 299. And we have the Varia suit, so we are very hard to kill now. We certainly don't want to die. We'll start back with 30 health, but we will have the Varia suit, so that part's good. And in this room, we just want to drop way down. And we're going to make our way back to the left. You should certainly remember this room. We've been through this area twice now. This is where that first energy tank was. So we just want to make our way all the way back to the left, through the gold vertical shaft room, through that tunnel, and over to the blue vertical shaft. We want to head back towards the very beginning of the game. We're going to be able to grab another energy tank there, which will raise our health to 399, which will make us very, very hard to kill when we head to the next zone. Make your way down to the left, and we'll hit the door down there, right here. In this room, we need to get this Rio enemy to follow us underneath the wall. So here he is here. If we go down into ball form, he'll often do this thing where he hovers around on the floor. You need to get him to follow you. Take a little bit of damage, doesn't matter. And when you stand up, he'll start doing his normal attack pattern. You want to freeze him right around that spot so that you can jump on top of him, shoot this block in the ceiling, and jump up to grab that energy tank. If you're just barely missing it, try pressing up. If you just touch it with the tip of your gun, you may be able to still collect it. And we're going to head back up the way we came. Let's speed this up again. Make your way up and back to the tunnel. We are now ready to head to the fire zone, Norfair. Now that we have 399 health, we'll be very hard to kill. We're going to drop down to the right, just like we did at the very beginning of the game. We're heading to that same room where we found the first missile pack, except this time, instead of going to where the missiles are and turning back to the left, we're going to keep heading to the right. It's nice to be able to freeze these enemies that constantly spawn. They won't spawn another one as long as there's a frozen enemy in place. Although the other way you can deal with them is if you kill one and it drops like a health or a missile and you don't collect it, it won't spawn another enemy until that item has been collected or it goes away. So that's two ways to deal with those guys. Of course, they're also good for farming for missiles or health if you need it. Especially if you die at some point. It's hard a lot of the times to get your health back up without standing in front of some constantly spawning enemies and just fighting them for a while. This is Norfair. Once you get to the bottom of the elevator, head to the left. This enemy is called a Garuda. Garudas take a lot of damage to kill, so right now it might just make sense to freeze them and just move on. Over here we'll find our third missile upgrade. And we'll keep making our way over to the left. It looks like a dead end here, but you can turn into ball form and use your bombs to get through these sections of the walls that are blocking you. These guys are called Ripper 2s, and they're pretty much the same as the Rippers. You can't just destroy them with your regular weapons, so you can just freeze them in place. Head down here and make your way to the right. In this room, we're going to head over to the right, and we will find our fourth missile upgrade, which will bring our max missiles to 20. Right over here. So you're going to grab that, and then we're just going to make our way back the way that we came. So head on back to the left. That little fire guy is called a Nova. He's very similar to the Zoomers from the Brinstar Zone. Make your way back to the left, and I'm going to speed this up. You can use these blocks on the side to easily get up this shaft and avoid the enemies. So just make your way back the way you came, go through the wall in ball form, and we'll come back to the area where the elevator was, and head over to the door on the right. There is a lot of lava on this side of the Norfair zone, so ideally you want to stay in the top part of the screen so that you can avoid falling into it. We do have a lot of health now, so there's not as much to be worried about, but we don't want to waste it either. So make your way to the right. That purple guy is called a Squeeped. You can't kill him with just your ice beam, so I would just avoid him for now or freeze him in place. Keep heading to the right and go through this door. We're going to head down, and there's a door right below us on the left, so we're going to go through there. Make our way across this room. It looks very similar to the one we were just in, although it has some constantly spawning enemies. These guys are called Gamuts. They are very similar to the Zeb enemies that we encountered in the Brinstar zone. Man, I'm just getting torn up by this Garuda enemy. Make your way to the left. Of course, you know now that you can destroy these blocks. And there's another set of them right here. Just make your way through. I like to try to get these Nova enemies stuck without any platforms underneath them. They look pretty amusing. Alright, it looks like a dead end, but we know better. Get down into ball form and use a bomb jump. That'll pop us up here, and we can use our bombs to get through any of the obstacles that are blocking us in this wall. On the other side, we're going to need to use our ice beam to get over a very high wall. This ball enemy is called a multi-viola. The Squeeped and the Ripper, they don't get you high enough to jump over the wall, so you do need to freeze that multi-viola to get enough height to get over. On the other side, we'll find not one, but 2 more missile upgrades, bringing our grand total of a maximum of 30. Now we're going to head back the way that we came. So go on through the wall. Speeding this up. We are backtracking to the right. Just backtrack it. And when we get to the other side, it looks like we're at the bottom of this shaft, but we are not. You can use a bomb at the very end here, and then another one, and one more bomb should do it. And we will be able to continue our descent into Norfair. Go through this door on the left, and we've found a treasure room. You certainly want to stay out of the lava here. You'll take a good bit of damage before you get out. And we have plenty of missiles to get through the door now. Up here, we'll find our next upgrade, the high jump boots. You may be shocked to find out that the high jump boots will make you jump higher. They're not actually a mandatory item for finishing the game, but that's not the only thing to find in this room. You'll notice that you can bomb underneath where you got the upgrade, and we come to another area where we need to jump over a wall from a frozen platform. However, now that we have the high jump boots, we can make it much more easily. That enemy that spits fire in the bottom is called a dragon. I know, most of these other enemies have crazy names, but that one makes a lot of sense. We'll go through this tunnel. It looks very similar to the one in Brinstar. Watch out for that multi-viola and these gamut enemies as you make your way across. Through the door on the other side, we're going to hit the green bubble zone. Now there's a secret passage through the ceiling here. So you'll need to just keep jumping until the block that you shot out reappears underneath your feet. And with the high jump boots now, it should be easy for us to get up here. Head over to the left into this treasure room, and we are going to find a very good item up here. Through the door with the missiles, of course. This is the screw attack. The screw attack is just awesome. If you jump while moving, so it doesn't work if you jump straight up from like a standing start, which is an important thing. Sometimes you don't want the screw attack to work. It will just annihilate almost any enemy in your path. Now, things like the Ripper 2 there, you won't be able to kill that with the screw attack, but a lot of these other enemies that take a good bit of damage to actually kill are very easy to destroy with it. You can see what it does to these multi-viola enemies here, if I can catch up to one. Oh, missed that guy. Here's another one. Well, of course those guys are easy to take out. There we go. And we got some missiles, very nice. So we're going to keep making our way to the left here. We're going to use the screw attack a lot. It does a lot of damage to the enemies, and we don't have to waste our missiles attacking enemies that normally would be hard to kill with our regular gun. So make your way through this passage to the right. There's some more of those gamut enemies and the multi-viola balls, but you'll see that things are just much easier now that we have the screw attack. So just screw attack through everything. This is one of Samus's trademark moves. You'll find the screw attack in pretty much all of the other Metroid games, at least the 2D ones. Keep heading to the right here. I always thought that this area looked like gumdrops, like some kind of weird lime and orange combination, which, I mean, those are both citrus, so maybe it would work. Just stay high up on there so you don't end up in the lava. Now I did a quick dip into the lava there. And you won't be surprised to find out we can go through the wall here. We need to bomb through the platform on the bottom this time, so a little bit sneaky, but don't trust any walls in Metroid. You should certainly test them out first. There's some squeeped enemies here and some more gamuts. We are going to continue to head over to the right, where we'll find some more upgrades very soon. In this room, we need to do a bomb right near the door and drop through the bottom over on the right side. Pretty sneaky. In here, we're going to make our way over to the left. Just keep on heading over. And we can bomb through this wall or just shoot it out. We'll need to use a little bomb jump to get up through. And here, we're going to find our fourth energy tank bringing our total health up to 500, well, 499, nearly 500. Head back over to the right. Now that we have that energy tank, we just want to come back the way that we came. Remember that it's over here on the right that you need to jump up through, and then right underneath the door. And we are backtracking again. Make your way through the green bubble wall, and then back across the lava pit over the gumdrops, over through the door on the left, and just keep heading over to the left. Watch out for the multi-viola enemies here. And in this room, it looks like a lava pit, but it's actually not at all. There's a hidden spot on the floor we could bomb over on the left side. Very sneaky, Metroid. Very sneaky. This room I always thought was pretty creepy looking. It looks like some kind of weird eggs are making the platforms here. Maybe it's the dragon's eggs. I'd certainly not like to be around when all those hatch. It also reminds me a little bit of the Gemini Man stage in Mega Man 3. Maybe they saw this and were inspired by it. In this room we're going to bomb over here on the right near the door. And we will bomb again. And there's going to be a door on the right side, which will lead us to some more missile upgrades. There's some Garudas in here we can use the screw attack to destroy. You can either freeze them first or just jump right through them unfrozen. And here's our first missile upgrade. And we'll continue over where we'll get another one, bringing our total missiles to 40. Pretty good. Now we're gonna head back the way that we came. Just make your way back. And we'll climb back up this room. You'll need to be careful to position yourself on those red balls. You can also shoot them and remove them, which will make the jumping more difficult, so don't do that. We're going to jump until the platform catches us underneath, and go through the door on the right. We're back in another one of those dragon egg rooms. This time we want to take out the enemies and be very careful of this multi-viola. If you fall into the lava between those tall pillars, you will not be able to get out, and you'll just stare at your screen helplessly as you watch your energy whittle down to nothing. It is not good. Don't do it. Be very careful there. We're going to bomb through the floor in this green bubble room and take the door to the left at the bottom. In here, we're in another treasure room. And when we get to the end of this one and put 5 missiles on the door, this time we're going to find the wave beam. Now, the wave beam does a lot more damage than the ice beam does, and it has some great properties to it. You can shoot it through platforms, which is very useful, and it's going to be extremely useful for the first boss that we fight, but that's coming up in a little bit. It also is good for hitting those enemies that are right below your gun level, like the Zoomers or the Novas. Those guys are very annoying, and normally I'd have to take them out with the bombs, or just trying to get onto a platform below them somehow. Now we have the wave beam and we can take them out easily. I'm using my screw attack to take out these Garuda enemies. And you can see how the wave beam can be used to just clear out a big swath of blocks. But it's not perfect. Sometimes it just doesn't seem to work. So anything that you hit at a little bit of range is usually okay, but sometimes the bombs are just more reliable for taking out the blocks. And of course this green bubble wall on the right is flawed, and we can bomb through it. Make your way across here. You can use some bombs to get down below, and just try to stay out of the lava. You want to get up on top of this if you can. Just shoot your way through, And another one of those dangerous gaps is over here, so be very careful crossing this section. Take it slow, don't get knocked back by that multi-viola. You don't want to end up in the lava there. And over here, we will find our 9th missile upgrade. Grab that. And now, carefully make your way back the way that you came. So, very carefully head through this room. Get over here to where we can bomb through the wall. And then we're going to need to do a very long backtrack. We're going to head all the way back to the point where we got those high jump boots. I know, that was like a long time ago. And we are backtracking. Heading back to the left, don't fall in an inescapable lava trap. The next thing that we need to do is go to Ridley's hideout, which is technically hideout number 2, but this is Metroid, so we can do things in whatever order we want, so we can definitely do hideout number 2 before hideout number 1. In fact, that's the recommended order, to be honest with you. Hideout number 2 is generally considered to be easier than hideout number 1, and it's a lot more convenient to go to as well. Make your way through, and here's that room we were trying to reach that is right outside of where we got those high jump boots. So we're going to head back to the right here. In this purple bubble shaft, this is the one where we went through the floor. So we want to head down lower this time. There's more stuff below. And we're going to cut through this room on the left. We're in another one of those dragon egg rooms. This one has a little bit different coloration to it. It's purple this time. So just head to the left, use your screw attack to defeat any enemies in your path. You just want to always keep that going. Just keep that electrical glow. We'll head down to the right here. And this is the elevator to Ridley's Lair. Ridley's Lair is not that difficult to navigate, but there are a couple tricky sections, so we'll need to stay on our toes. Head left at the bottom of the elevator. In the second room that looks identical to the first, we can shoot through the ceiling over here on the right, and it leads us to a secret room. Up here on the left, these enemies are called Holts. The Holts take a lot of damage to destroy, so you'll just want to use your screw attack on them, or you could use missiles, but you don't need to destroy them that badly, really. The screw attack will do just fine. These flying bee enemies are called Zebos, and they're pretty much the standard, constantly spawning from a pipe type enemy. Over here we'll find our 10th missile pack, bringing our grand total to 50. Be very careful near the missile. There are some illusionary floor traps and you might fall through. Head back the way that you came, making your way through the Zebos and the Holts. On the other side, we'll shoot through the door. If you recall this room, this is the way we came, so you need to bomb down below on the right. Samus just can't shoot downwards in this game, so bombs are the way to hit stuff below you. Now we're going to go through the door on the left. In this room, there's a whole bunch of those multi-violas. The screw attack will take care of them. And this purple monster is called a Deskiga. Once again, you'll want to use your wave beam or the screw attack to take those out. Just screw attack through everything, and in this part you can drop a bomb right in the middle of the floor. There it is. You need to go below the floor here. There's a big wall on the left side. we're gonna bomb up here, shoot this Giga enemy, and we'll need to use 5 of our missiles to go through this door. Don't walk quickly to the energy tank, it's a trick. Carefully walk over to the 7th block and then make your jump over. There's an illusion floor there. Once you collect the energy tank, head through that illusion floor and drop down through the door to the right. Use your screw attack or your wave beam to take out these Giga enemies. You can actually still use the screw attack even in very narrow corridors like this one, or even ones more narrow than it, like right near this door. There's a very tricky move you need to do here. So you're going to roll into a ball and you're going to unmorph in the air and immediately jump. So you press up and then jump, and you'll be able to jump from midair. If you do it right, you'll be able to make it over here and grab the missile upgrade. That is a very difficult maneuver, so you might want to practice it in some other areas before you do it right there, because if you mess up and you miss it, you'll fall down below and you'll have to climb all the way back up if you're interested in getting that missile pack. You could theoretically go and do a door wall climb there. That would also be another way you can get over that area. Make your way to the right here, going through these multi-viola enemies with your screw attack. We can now hold up to 55 missiles, and here's one of those narrow corridors I was talking about. So you can still use the screw attack even if you can't engage like the ball jump where you are doing like a somersault. So you don't have to do a somersault jump to use the screw attack. It still works, just make sure you're moving when you jump. Head through this door on the right and we're going to drop down this shaft here. Go through the door on the left. This purple room here is a very lengthy corridor. Just keep making your way to the left. You can shoot up through the ceiling over here. This makes it a little bit easier to cross this section. The Zebos can still come up there and attack you, but you'll see them coming sooner. Keep heading over to the left. Over here we'll drop down into this section and you can easily kill those Holtz enemies with your screw attack. Then we'll come up here into another narrow corridor. Just keep making your way through. We have a lot of health at this point. And at the end of the corridor, we will get our 12th missile upgrade. Once you have your missile pack, you want to head back the same way that we came, across this very, very long room. But you'll make it. Just head back into here. We're going to go up and we're going to head into this room that we came from before. So head into here. There are just a ton of these multi-viola enemies in this room, and there are very narrow corridors here. We can use our screw attack. I'm trying the wave beam, seeing if I can catch some of these enemies from far away. We are very, very close to Ridley at this point, so it'd be nice to have a little bit more health, so I'm trying to take out some of the enemies, maybe see if I can get my missiles back up to the max. Grab that health and head around these pillars. Down here we can just duck into a ball to get under that one. Grab some missiles, excellent. Head over through the door on the left. We're just going to pass through this room and go through the next door on the left. We have to cross this room to get to Ridley. So there's some more Holtz enemies here, and these fire enemies are called violas. So are we to assume that the round multi-viola enemies are just a bunch of these that somehow combine together? I'm not entirely sure, but they're not particularly difficult to defeat. They're very similar to the Zoomer or Nova enemies that we've seen everywhere. And this is Ridley. Yeah, I know he's a lot more impressive looking in Super Smash Bros. Or at least Super Metroid. He's very easy to defeat with the wave beam. All we need to do is get underneath him and just start shooting him. Now you could just sit in the lava and just hold up and just start shooting him if you have a lot of health, which I do, so maybe I will do that after a minute. But if you keep jumping, you'll take minimum damage as well. It doesn't matter too much though if you take damage. As soon as we defeat Ridley, we're going to go through the door on the left, and we're going to find our 6th energy tank over there, which is going to max out our health. Just stay down below Ridley, shoot up through the platform, and his fireballs won't ever be able to reach you. We also don't have to waste any missiles, and whenever you defeat him, you gain 75 missiles, which is just awesome. We'll need to use a bomb jump to get up through this little passage, and there's a bunch of Holtz enemies in here, so hopefully you're not on your very last bit of health, because we do need to cross over to get this energy tank. With that, we'll now have nearly 700 health points. There are other energy tanks in the game for us to find, but we won't be able to have any more health than this. Head back the way that you came across Ridley's room, and go out the door on the right side. So we're just gonna backtrack the same way that we came, head on over to the right. We have tons of health now, which is awesome. And once we get all the way to the right, we're just gonna climb to the top of the next vertical shaft. And we're going to head to the room at the very top on the left. That's actually a room that we haven't been to yet, so I'll play this room in normal speed since we've never been in here before, but it's not particularly interesting. It's just similar stuff that you've seen before in this area. Now, before we go on, I do want to show you a very interesting secret that you can access here in Ridley's Lair. So whenever we go up to the elevator, I'm going to cut away to the room where we found the energy tank. So remember that room up on the top that had the hole in the floor? If we use the door trick to get up into the ceiling here, we can access a whole secret world that isn't on any map in any of the official guidebooks. This stuff is straight off the books. It's weird too. It's a little bit glitchy, there's all kind of strange stuff to find, and we're just going to go to the top of the screen and then just keep jumping, just mash the jump button, and I'm going to speed this up. It takes a long time to do. You need to do it very carefully. If you mess up, you can get stuck in the wall and you won't be able to escape. So that's problem number one with trying this out, but it's an interesting thing to see. So we're just going to keep going up until we get to a door, and then we can exit into this secret area. Now, if you go through the door on the left there, you'll get stuck and you'll probably die. The screen won't advance over to the left. Same thing with the door on the right at the bottom. This area here isn't particularly unique looking, so it's not very exciting, but if we go into this door over here and go up another level, there's way more interesting stuff up above us here. So I'm going to speed it up again. Of course, this can take some time. We can actually go into the doors on this next level. These Zebo enemies are very annoying right here. And one of the things that we're going to be able to find is another room where we can fight Ridley. Now, I'm doing this before I actually killed Ridley in the game, and I tested it. If you defeat him here in the secret zone, you won't be able to fight him again below, and you will get rewarded with the 75 missiles. So this is a very weird way that we can come up and fight Ridley. He's actually in the door over here on the right. And there he is. We actually go through the missile door, which is super strange. I'm gonna come down and I might just destroy him with missiles here. I'm just trying to show you some of the stuff that you can see in this game. So it takes a lot longer to shoot them with the wave beam from underneath, but that is certainly the safer way of doing it. And ideally we want to conserve our missiles. We're going to need just a ton of missiles at the end of the game, so it may seem excessive to get all these missile packs, but they are useful. So you see, we still get the 75 missiles when we fight them here. And there's a ton of more weird stuff here in the secret area. Some very unique rooms that you won't see anywhere else. Like this one, which has, you can just like fall out of the floor in here. But there's a lot more to explore. You can go and do the door wall trick in a number of different places. And who knows what you might find. No, but that's probably enough of this for now. We need to get back to the game. The next thing that we need to accomplish is to go back to Brinstar Zone and find Kraid's lair, which is hideout number 1. But before we leave Norfair behind, there is a whole slew of missiles we can find in one concentrated area. What we want to do is climb way up this purple bubble area, higher than we've ever climbed it before. When we get up to this part, we can go through the door here on the left. Make your way over and grab the first missile upgrade in this area, and then there's another one right over here. So grab it too, and then just keep making your way over to the left, and there is a third missile upgrade. Pretty awesome. Now head back the way that you came. This is a pretty small room, very easy to get back to the door. When we get back over there, we're actually going to shoot through the ceiling, and we'll be able to go up even higher in this room. I got knocked down by that guy, annoying. So shoot up through the ceiling here. Bounce up until you get caught by the block below. Head over through this door on the left, where we'll find another room that leads us to even more missile upgrades. There's a total of 25 missile upgrades in this small area. That's the 5th one that we just found in the last minute. And once we find it, there is another thing to find as well. So blow up the wall at the end here and just keep making your way over to the left. We need to blow up all of these bricks individually. There's some multi-violas on this side. Just head through the door. We're going to drop down a vertical shaft here and make our way through the door on the right. In here, it's almost like the same room we were just in. We just need to blow through the wall again. So head through, and on the other side of this, we will find the ice beam again. Very strange. It's the same ice beam that we had before, but we found it in a different location. Luckily, we probably need it for the end of the game. It's very difficult to deal with the Metroids if we don't have the ice beam. In this room, we can bomb through the wall, so just head on through. Make your way to the right. And then we're back to the purple bubble area, so we're just going to drop down and make our way to the left through this door. Cross over all these lava areas. And that's it for Norfair. We won't need to come back here. We actually found every item that there is in here. We are very, very powerful now. But don't underestimate the challenge at the end of the game. We will need just a ton of missiles to get through the end area, which is called Taurian. We're going to head up to the elevator, and we will be back to Brinstar. We've already found everything in the Brinstar zone, so we just need to make our way back to practically the very beginning of the game. So we're just going to head straight across where we found our first missile upgrade, through the door and up through the gold shaft. We'll find the door on the left through the tunnel, into the blue shaft, and head down to the bottom through the door on the left where we found that energy tank up in the ceiling, and we come to this room. In this room we can bomb through the floor. We haven't actually been back here since we got bombs, so just make your way down to the bottom and go through the door to the right. And this is Kraid's Lair. Unlike Ridley's Lair, Kraid's Lair is very difficult to navigate. There are a number of spots where you can just fall down to the bottom of a shaft and you won't be able to climb up easily. You want to cling to the right as you head down from the elevator and head through the missile door on the right. In here we'll find our first missile pack upgrade for Kraid's Lair. That enemy up on the ceiling is called a side hopper. Yeah, very creative name, guys. This other creature, though, that you see clinging to the surface is called a Zela. I think the Zelas are kind of neat looking. I like their eyeballs. Cling to the wall again on the right and head through the missile door. In this room, it looks like a dead end, but we know not to trust dead ends at this point, so we're going to use our bombs to go through the wall. There we go. And just keep bombing as you move forward. And on the other side, we're going to find an energy tank. So if you go up to the top of this pillar and roll off while holding to the right, you'll easily make it down to that next level. Grab the energy tank. You'll see that it doesn't increase our max energy this time. But it does fill us back to nearly 700 health, which is especially helpful if you had died up to this point. You'll notice you can go through the wall at the bottom, but you want to jump up about 3 spaces higher. That's the way to come back across. Try to get out of the lava here and stay up on the platforms. We just got our health refilled, we don't want to take too much damage. And now that we grabbed that stuff, we're going to head back up and take this door on the left. In here we'll see some purple scree enemies, and you can see how they explode if you don't kill them. Blow through the wall, and be careful in this section, it's easy to fall into the lava here. You can get out of it though, unlike in some of those spots in Norfair. We'll grab our next missile upgrade, and keep making our way to the left. We'll find another door. I'm going to grab this missile. Go through. Now here we're going to drop down to the right. So drop down to the bottom and head through this door on the right. In here we can freeze this side hopper and go right around him. And there's another one in here, so same thing, except there's a missile door here to explode through. 5 missiles will take it out of the way, and we can make our way over to the right, where we'll find yet another missile pack. So just keep moving forward. Get past these side hoppers. There's one that was a different color in this area for some reason. Grab some extra health. We're getting very close to the boss at this point. Once we get into this room, we will climb up and shoot through the door on the left. In here, it looks like that room with the side hoppers, but we're 1 level higher now. Up here, we can shoot this Zela or blow him up with our bombs. Or just go through them, I guess. Head through the door on the left. We're going to cut through this room. So So just cut across this area. Watch out for these screes. Got some more missiles, excellent. And in this room, we can climb up and take the door over on the right side here. We're going to cut straight across this room, and this is going to lead us to a shaft which will eventually lead us to the boss's chamber. But first we want to jump up over this platform and go over through the missile door on the right side. Make your way across this next room, staying out of the lava in the bottom. Just keep heading through. These Giga enemies will constantly spawn. There's not any pipes for them to come out of here, but they function the same way. Just keep making your way across. If you end up in the lava, there's a platform at the end you can get out on. And here's that vertical shaft that leads to the end, but first we want to cling to the left side and go into this room, at the end of which we will find the game's very last missile pack upgrade. Missile pack number 21. Once you have it, we have collected pretty much all of the items. There is one more energy tank that we can find. But all we need to do now is fall down this shaft, go through the door on the left, and make our way to Kraid. Gonna grab these missiles. Just keep heading over to the left. And go through the door. This is the room right before Kraid's chamber, so we'll need to use 5 missiles to get through the door. And the way I like to fight Kraid is to try to freeze some of his projectiles. They're very annoying because the spike ones can actually block your shots. And once I have a couple of them frozen, especially the ones right in front of them, I'll switch to missiles and just light them up. It's also pretty easy to beat this guy if you just get down into ball form and try to hit him with bombs, but the missile method is much faster. And once he's defeated, you can grab this last energy tank. Once again, it's not going to give us any additional health, but it's going to refill us to full. Now it's time to head on out of hideout number 1 and make our way to the Mother Brain. Now, before we're able to get out of Kraid's lair, we have to do this annoying part where we climb up this long vertical shaft by just shooting at some breakable blocks and jumping and letting the ones below us reappear and move us upward. You need to do it very carefully or you'll fall off, but there are some blocks on the side, so try to fall onto one of those if you get clipped by a block and you fall off of it. I'm gonna speed this up now. We'll speed it up and just keep jumping as you head to the top of this. And then we can just make our way back the way that we came to the left. And in this room, this is kind of a tricky one. You can come down here and freeze these Ripper enemies. Now those two you can't kill with your screw attack, but this darker brown one you can. So you need to be very careful not to screw attack it while it's frozen, or you'll destroy the platform that you need to climb up. Keep making your way up here. This is the way to the elevator. And once you get to the top, we'll be able to say goodbye to Kraid's lair and head back to Brinstar. This is it. This is the final leg of the journey. Head out to the left here, and we're going to climb up this shaft and go out the top of the room, just like we came from. At this point, we are very close to where we started the game. And we only have one more area to clear to finish it. I'm trying to take out some of these enemies just in case I can get a couple extra missiles. It's nice to have extra missiles when we're in the final part of the game. The enemies there almost all require missiles to kill, so if you want to take out the Metroids, you'll need to use missiles on them. There's going to be these barriers that we need to destroy called Zebatites. Then there's going to be Mother Brain herself, which takes a good 33 missiles to defeat on her own. Yeah, we need a lot of missiles, but don't worry too much. If you have at least 200 or 175 or so, that's plenty. I wouldn't worry about farming missiles too much, but if you have extra missiles, that's great. We're just going to keep going all the way to the top of the shaft this time. We've never gone this far up. And once we get into this room, this is the last bit of Brinstar that we've never been in before. Keep heading over to the left. There's some Zebs here that constantly spawn if you need to farm them for more missiles. If you have less than 100 missiles, you're going to have problems. So I certainly recommend bringing as many as you can, but it does get really painful to sit here and farm missiles for a long time. 5 missiles will take out that door, and in this room we can shoot the statues of Kraid and Ridley to create a bridge, and once we get to the other side, we can descend the elevator to Taurian. But before we go down here, there is another way. If you lure a Rio enemy into this room, and then lure him down below, it's possible to freeze him in a position where you can get up to the door without fighting the bosses at all. Now, I do recommend killing at least one of the bosses so you have a bunch of missiles, but this is probably the fastest way you can get through the game. So that is an alternate strategy that you can use, especially if you're trying to finish the game in under an hour. Now back to our main run. This is Taurian, and those are Metroids. You just want to kind of freeze them and get away from them, but if they catch you, well, the only way to get a Metroid to release you is to turn into ball form and just start bombing it. The bombs will eventually cause the Metroid to release you, but while it's holding on, your life will drain very quickly. So take them seriously. It's possible to freeze them and destroy them with missiles. The Metroids take 5 missiles to defeat, but they always drop at least 30 health or 30 missiles, so it's a good bargain. If you have a lot of health and a lot of missiles, it's much faster to just freeze them and move on. But if you're low on health and low on missiles, you should be killing every Metroid you see. This is particularly important if you die in the final area and come back to life with only 30 health. These little ring enemies are called Rinkas, and they are very obnoxious. I'm just trying to hurry through here. There's a whole mess of Metroids at the bottom of this room that I just want to get away from. Try to freeze them. If that one's underneath the platform, you should be safe from him. And we'll need to use some missiles to get through there. And there's a bunch more Metroids here too. They swarm you. So try to freeze them in places where you can get around them. If you can't, then maybe use a couple missiles to destroy the Metroid. You don't want them to unfreeze on you and chase you down and kill you. Oh, this one's got me. Alright, so we're going to use bombs to get out. So keep using bombs and then see the Metroid released. And now I'm going to freeze these guys, and I better destroy them. I'm going to get rid of that first one and roll under the next two. Shot off a missile for no reason there. That was not good. And now this is it. This is the Mother Brain room. These Zebatite barriers take a minimum of 8 missiles to destroy, but if you give them a second to regenerate, it'll take a lot more. So once you start shooting them, you need to keep up the heat. These Rinka enemies will dog you the whole time, so if they start to become a problem, you may want to freeze a couple of them with your ice beam, They won't put more than 3 Rinkas on the screen, even if they're frozen, so if you can freeze 3 of them, you'll be able to give yourself a breather and be able to attack through these Zebatites faster. When we get to the end where Mother Brain is, that's going to be our primary strategy. So there she is in her glass case. Shoot through this last Zebatite, and then we want to freeze those Rinkas. So I'm going to switch back to my Ice Beam, and you want to try to not destroy them with the screw attack. It's kind of hard to do sometimes. And I got 2 of them. I get a couple hits and then freeze this one above me. And now there's another one that's moving, but I just want to get as many hits in as possible. And now I can switch back to my Ice Beam again and try to freeze them another time. If you fall into the lava on the left side, that is trouble. So you want to avoid that. You can freeze some of the Rinkas and jump on top of them to help you get out of that lava pit, but it will be a problem if you get stuck in there. Keep hitting the Mother Brain with the missiles, freeze the Rinkas when you can. Looks like I got a good pattern here. And as she starts shaking more and more quickly, you'll know that it's over. Well, almost over. We still need to escape. This entire section is designed to make you panic, so you need to remain calm. They actually give you a lot of time here. Just carefully make these jumps. You'll notice that the somersault jump is a little bit harder to control, so you may want to try to do some jumps from a standing start, and carefully make your way from platform to platform. If you fall, just try to catch on to any platform that you can, and continue to make your way back up. But you'll see we have plenty of time to spare, and once you get to the elevator, you've completed Metroid, and have saved the galaxy from the evil Mother Brain. All we can do now is sit back, relax, and enjoy the cheesy ending. We get this particular ending this time because we finished the game between 1 and 3 hours. So that's what this looks like. If we would finish the game in 10 or more hours, it would show Samus in her full suit turned around and facing out into space. If we finish between 5 and 10 hours, it shows Samus in the full suit, but she's turned forward and waving at us. And if we finish between 3 and 5 hours, she'll actually take off the helmet and we'll be able to see her face, but we won't be able to see the rest of her. And of course, if you can finish the game in under an hour, we get the Samus in a bikini shot, which I was very surprised. This theme of showing Samus in like a bare midriff outfit actually carried on into the Game Boy game and the Super Nintendo one as well. So it kind of became a perverted Metroid tradition. Well, I hope this video was able to help you complete Metroid and finally save the galaxy from the evil space pirates. If it did, make sure to give it a like and be sure to subscribe for more videos, because there will always be more space pirates to battle, and that's why we'll be back again next week with another video game you can beat. Thanks for watching.